We have some special guests today.
Can you give us a bit about your background, give us an introduction, and what in the end led you to working on Legend of the Five Rings?
I'm Lex Dygema. I got started working on 5th edition when I started working at Fantasy Flight Games around when Emerald Empire was in the last stages of being made. I've been infatuated with gaming since I was a child. My dad, my grandparents instilled a love for it at a super early age. RPGs are definitely my passion. I've basically had a hand in most of the things past Emerald Empire. So I proofread for Emerald Empire. That was like my first thing that I worked on. I co-developed Mask of the Oni with Tim Cox. I worked on Courts of Stone with Sam Gregor Stewart. I did the Winter's Embrace adventure. Path of Waves was my first like really big book that I did. Celestial Realms. I had a hand in the Lion adventure that's coming out, and I'm currently working on Rid of the Wilds.
I'm Max Brook. I'm the lead designer for the core rulebook, and I've done various little things to help on design, further supplements. So I've written some sections, some of the ones we'll be talking about today, etc. But the bulk of my work was on the core rulebook, and then mostly I've just been helping folks like Lex on the specifics of the mechanics, but my day job is mostly other stuff. I can only claim a small amount of the credit for any book past the core.
So how would you describe a developer in that? So I'm not quite sure what that entails. So
development includes writing, but it's also the managing of freelancers, designing rules, mechanics. It's just like all of it together.
I have a pithy way I like saying it, which is that the developer is the person who makes the book happen.
Yeah.
Kind of like a producer in a like movies and television.
Yep.
So what makes you particularly excited about Rokugan and Legend of the Five Rings then?
I absolutely love the lore, and it definitely helped that the team that I was working with, like Max Brook and Sam Gregor Stewart and Tim Cox, were so awesome. And I'm also really excited about researching different cultures. So it was really fun to really dive in and get into it and start learning more about Japanese, Chinese, Mongolian, Korean, Indian cultures, just to name a few.
Yeah. It is a lot of people's favorite things. Yeah, it is a big draw.
I think it's worth mentioning, since this is your first time having Lex on, but Lex was the one who spearheaded and did a lot of the work with Muda, who did the consultation on the Ivory Kingdoms in Path of Waves. And because you two did such, good work on that, and that was I think that was one of our most like successful creative lore projects in a big way in the RPG. And a lot of that was you. So I just figured I'd mention that.
I loved working on the Ivory Kingdom stuff. It was so much fun.
I would love to see more, honestly. There's kind of like a tantalizing amount where you couldn't quite run something in it, but you almost feel that it made me want to, but it's not. It's lovely.
That might have been by design. Maybe, perhaps.
If the line keeps doing well, maybe someday we'll get a whole book where you and Amuda can go wild on that stuff.
Oh, that would be so much fun.
So we ask this of everybody who comes on our show because it's Legend of the Five Rings. So what is your favorite clan?
Okay, so this is a complicated question.
Good.
So I want to say it's Scorpion, but I took the quiz and they suggest Phoenix. But if I really dig deep, it's definitely Crab Clan. Mm-hmm. Without a doubt.
Wait.
All right.
Hang on. So you say you want Scorpion.
Yeah.
But you've ended up with Phoenix. Is this why there are so many Scorpion Shugenja?
I do really like the Scorpion's aesthetic completely and utterly. And perhaps that's why maybe Max and I just want to frustrate you. Who knows?
So you're saying you'd go for Phoenix more if there were like red and black instead of red and yellow?
Perhaps.
Is that the?
Or maybe if they stabbed things a little bit more, slightly more. But definitely crab.
All
I
right.
love the crab. There would be no Rokugan without the crab.
So what is your favorite part of Celestial Realms? What's your favorite thing?
I'm actually going to make Max answer first. What's your favorite part, Max?
Oh, my favorite part is, that's easy to answer, it's the Ishiken, because I knew that it would be interesting, and I think people have found it that, so I'm pretty happy about that.
People have been clamoring for Ishiken, I think, since day one. I think people were complaining that Ishiken hadn't been included before the core book was out and anyone knew anything about it. They just, what, we want Ishiken? I was like, the game's not out yet, come on. But yeah, people have been certainly quite intrigued by it, I think.
My favorite part, okay, this is going to be a little lame, but it's not lame, because it's the map. It's a map of the Celestial Realms that Francesca Bayral did. It's my favorite thing ever. I love it so much. It was so fun to do.
The maps, I have to say, for all of FFG's L5R have been stupendous.
Yeah, that's Francesca. She is phenomenal.
I love it. There's lots of people talking about framing it.
Oh, yeah.
I think the only problem I have with those maps is that it's difficult to frame them because they're double-sided and you want to frame both sides.
I guess you'll just have to buy two. Darn.
Darn it all.
It's one of those classic delivering value paradoxes where we try to make the product a good deal for the consumer, but the thing is, we're giving you this nice sheet. So should, if we're going to bother to print something out, we should put something on the other side. So we put something on the other side, but then the problem is you can't frame it. So then we're like, we could put it on two sheets, but then we'd be like, we'll have to put something on the other sides. And then it's just this, it goes on and on. It's the classic problem.
Just need to make a double-sided frame.
Just need a transparent frame.
Yes.
Yeah, just flip it over.
Right.
Hang it up with a big old wind chime.
Yes. Was there anything that you had to cut for space that you wish you'd had room? Or if you had more pages, is there stuff you'd want to go into more detail on?
If I'm honest, I was actually pretty happy with what we were able to include. If I could add more, I would definitely add more creatures and adventure seeds and art, honestly. But I think that, I don't know, I think that it was actually a pretty balanced book, in my opinion.
This is something that you'd have a better handle on, Lex, than I did, but I feel watching this book across its process, more than a lot of other books, this one didn't end up having to chop a bunch of content to fit.
That was also partially by design, because I think I asked writers to write fewer words, because writers, I love them very much, but they always tend to go over. So I had them do less, so when they went over, it wouldn't I wouldn't have to cut all of the things that they wrote, because it's really sad when you have to do that. Path of Waves was one of those ones. I had to cut a bunch of stuff.
I think every L5R book prior to this one that I had any sort of eye on the ball for the content, I remember there were a bunch of things in the book plan that didn't make it in, and then I looked at the final book and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That's usually how it goes with RPGs. It's rare that you come out under.
Yeah, I think Celestial Realms definitely was the tightest book we did. It came together the most beautifully.
We're learning.
Fancy that.